Have you ever sat across from someone and felt the whole mood change before he even said a word? No big confession, no obvious move. Just one tiny motion and suddenly the air feels different. Maybe he touches his neck. Maybe his fingers pass over his lips. Maybe he fixes his hair like he forgot you were watching. And something in you notices it instantly. That is the part most people miss. Attraction usually does not begin with words. It begins with signals. It begins with those quiet, automatic movements the body makes when someone matters a little more than they planned. So before you read too much into a text, before you wonder why he has not made it clear, watch what happens when he is right there in front of you. Watch the hands. Watch the face. Watch the pause between one sentence and the next. Because when a man is trying to stay calm around someone he likes, his body often tells the truth before his voice is ready to. And once you see these signs, you cannot unsee them. Stay with me because one of these signals is so easy to overlook, yet once you understand it, you will start spotting it everywhere. And the last detail matters more than most people realize because it is often the difference between simple friendliness and real attraction that is trying very hard not to show itself. One of the strongest places to watch is the neck. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but the meaning behind it is powerful. When a man touches his neck while talking to you, maybe rubbing the side, maybe adjusting his collar, maybe sliding his fingers just under the jaw, it is often more than random movement. The neck is a vulnerable place. It carries tension. It sits close to the voice, the breath, the heartbeat. And people naturally protect what feels exposed. That is why this gesture matters. When someone is guarded, the body tightens, the shoulders rise, the chin dips, the neck closes off. But when a man is pulled in by someone, when he feels both nervous and drawn closer, he often does the opposite without even knowing it. He exposes that area. He touches it. He softens there. It is like his body is trying to manage the rush in real time. Picture it. You are talking. Maybe it is casual. Maybe it is nothing serious at all. Then you say something playful, or you hold eye contact a second longer, and his hand moves to his neck. He looks away for half a beat, then back at you. That is not always just a habit. Very often that is his system reacting to your presence. It is attraction mixed with vulnerability. It is his body saying, slow down, breathe, hold it together. And if you see that neck touch paired with open posture, a small smile, leaning in, or warmer eye contact, it becomes even more telling. That is when it stops looking like stress and starts looking like chemistry. What makes this signal so interesting is not only the movement itself, but the timing. These touches often happen right after a spark. Right after you tease him. Right after you compliment him. Right after a moment where the silence gets a little deeper and both of you feel it. That is when the hand rises. That is when the collar gets adjusted even though nothing needed fixing. That is when he rubs the back of his neck like he is trying to play it cool. And that is why paying attention matters more than overthinking. Many people look for perfect lines and perfect moves, but real attraction is rarely that polished. It leaks out in the in-between moments. It shows up in the body trying to regulate what the mind wants to hide. And the neck is one of the clearest places where that happens. Not every neck touch means romance, of course. Context always matters. A man can touch his neck because he is tired, uneasy, or simply distracted. But when it happens during warm conversation, with soft eye contact, a relaxed face, an energy that feels focused on you, it means something very different. It means you are affecting him. You are getting under the surface. You are not just part of the background anymore. So the next time you notice that tiny movement, do not rush past it. Let the moment breathe. Let him show you what his words have not caught up to yet. Because sometimes the strongest sign is not what he says. It is the place he touches when he is trying not to say too much. Another powerful signal lives around the lips. Small movement, big meaning. When a man touches his lips near you, brushes them with his fingers, bites them lightly, presses them together, or even holds a glass near his mouth a little longer than needed, it can reveal far more than he realizes. The lips are tied to expression, affection, desire, and attention. So when attraction is present, the brain often shifts focus there in subtle ways. He may not be doing it on purpose. In fact, the strongest signs are usually the ones he is not trying to create. You are sitting together. Maybe you say something funny. Maybe you say something softer, more personal, and he laughs, then goes quiet. In that pause, his hand moves near his mouth. His thumb skims the corner of his lip. He presses his lips together and smiles. That moment can say a lot. It is often the body guiding attention toward the place connected to closeness, tenderness, and desire. And no, it is not always about pure lust. That is too flat, too simple. The lips are emotional too. They are where words begin and where emotion shows first. So when he touches that area around you, it often means his guard is dropping. He is no longer fully managing every gesture. He is reacting. And those reactions matter, especially when the eyes join in. If his eyes move to your mouth while he touches his own, even briefly, that can be a very strong cue. It shows focus. It shows imagination. It shows that part of him is already thinking about closeness in a way he may never say out loud. This is where timing becomes everything again. Not every lip touch means he is deeply interested. Sometimes people do it out of habit. Sometimes it is dry lips, nerves, or simple restlessness. But when it happens right after shared laughter, after a long look, after a warm silence, or after a moment that feels charged in a quiet way, it starts to mean more. That is why reading one gesture alone is never enough. The real truth comes from patterns. A lip touch, then eye contact, then a smile that lingers, then a pause where neither of you wants to break the moment too fast. That is where attraction lives. Not in one dramatic move, but in a chain of small signals that all point in the same direction. And if you have ever felt that strange electric moment when someone says almost nothing and yet you know something is happening, this is why. The body is speaking in tiny flashes. The lips are part of that language. They pull attention. They signal desire, but they also signal emotional openness. They show that he is affected. So if you notice him touching his lips while listening to you closely or while holding your gaze a second too long, do not dismiss it too quickly. It may be one of the clearest silent signs that his focus is not casual. It is personal, it is felt, and yes, it may be the moment where attraction slips through before he can polish it into words. Watch that closely. Most people miss it. The ones who notice it understand the whole mood sooner. Then there is the hair and the jawline. This one is classic because it is tied to presentation, to awareness, to that quiet shift people make when they suddenly care more about how they are being seen. If a man runs his fingers through his hair, smooths it back, touches the side of his head, strokes his jaw, or brushes along his chin while talking to you, that can be a real sign that your presence has changed his level of self-awareness. He is not just existing in the moment anymore. He is noticing himself in the moment. And that usually happens when someone matters. Think about the old instinct of grooming. It shows up everywhere in human behavior. When people are drawn to someone, they adjust. They straighten. They fix what did not need fixing. Not because something is wrong, but because attraction makes them want to look a little better than usual. That is why these gestures are so telling. The hand to the hair, the fingers along the jaw, the slight correction in posture. These are often signals of wanting to appear stronger, cleaner, more put together, more attractive. The jawline especially carries its own message. When a man touches it, he may be drawing attention to one of the features most tied to masculine presence. He is not always aware of that, but the body often knows what it is doing long before the mind turns it into a plan. So when you see this happen, especially while he is maintaining eye contact or smiling with a little more intensity than before, it is worth noticing. And here is the deeper layer. This kind of grooming is not just about vanity. It is about your effect on him. It means his body has shifted from neutral to aware. He is thinking, even if only for a second, about how he is landing with you. That matters. Men do not usually make these extra adjustments around people they feel nothing for. When interest is low, the body stays basic. Minimal change, minimal display. But when attraction shows up, the energy sharpens. The shirt gets straightened. The shoulders open. The hand moves through the hair. The jaw gets touched as if he is collecting himself. And when these gestures happen slowly, not in a frantic way, but in a calm, present way, they can be especially magnetic, because then it feels less like insecurity and more like focused attention. It feels like he is aware of himself because he is deeply aware of you, and that is a powerful difference. This is why a man can seem more grounded, more deliberate, more physically present when he likes someone. Attraction makes people inhabit their body differently. It slows some movements down. It makes certain touches more meaningful. So if he brushes his jaw while watching you talk, or fixes his hair right after you smile at him, do not assume it is nothing. Sometimes that tiny act is his version of saying, I want you to see me well. I want to show up right here, right now, a little better than I do for everyone else. And that is not small. That is attention. That is interest finding a quiet form. Now let's talk about the hands in a broader way, because hands reveal what words often hide. A man's hands can tell you how relaxed he is, how open he feels, how much tension he is holding, and whether he is trying to close distance without forcing it. When he is around someone he likes, the hands often become messengers. They move, they reveal, they search for an outlet. Some men gesture more when they feel good around you. Their palms open, their hands rest in view. Their movements become freer, more natural, more expressive. That openness usually signals comfort and trust, but once attraction enters, something else often happens. The hands begin to carry the energy he is trying to contain. He touches his wrist, he rubs his forearm, he runs a thumb across his knuckles, he taps lightly on the table, he adjusts his watch when it does not need adjusting. These are not always random. Very often they are displacement. The body has energy with nowhere to place it, so it turns inward. If he cannot touch you, he may touch himself in small, harmless ways just to manage that current running through him. And that matters because attraction creates tension, not bad tension. Alive tension, the kind that makes someone more aware of each second, each look, each pause. So the next time you are with him, ask yourself this. Are his hands hidden away and shut down, or are they visible, active, and trying to connect with the moment? The answer can tell you a lot. There is also something powerful about direction. Where his hands move tells you where his energy goes. If his gestures naturally move toward you, if his palm turns upward when he speaks, if his hand rests close to your space without crossing a boundary, these can all signal openness and interest. He is not just talking. He is offering presence. He is inviting connection. A man who feels drawn to you often creates little bridges without realizing it. He may angle his body toward you. He may rest his hand on the back of your chair. He may place his drink closer to your side of the table. Small things. Nothing extreme, but together they create a pattern, and patterns matter more than isolated moments. On the other hand, if he stays physically closed off, keeps his hands buried, never opens his posture, never lets his body lean into the connection, that tells its own story too. Attraction usually expands people. It opens them, it makes them want to participate more fully in the shared space. And here is what makes this especially interesting. Hands can show both confidence and vulnerability at once. A hand on the chest or stomach can suggest protectiveness and self-control. A hand placed openly nearby can suggest comfort and quiet desire for closeness. That is why watching the hands gives you access to the emotional truth under the conversation. They tell you whether he is pulled in or holding back, calm or charged, available or only being polite. Do not underestimate that. The hands rarely stay neutral when the heart is involved. Another subtle but strong sign is what happens around the lower face. The chin, the jaw, the space near the mouth. When a man touches this area while listening to you, it often means he is more engaged than he looks. He may seem composed on the outside, but inside there is a lot going on. This kind of touch can act like an anchor. It helps him stay steady while his attention is fully pulled toward you. Picture it clearly. You are talking, maybe telling a story, maybe sharing something personal. He is quiet now, more still than before. His eyes stay on you. Then his fingers move to his chin. He rubs the jaw lightly. He rests a knuckle near his mouth. That is not always just a thinking pose. Sometimes it is his body grounding itself because he feels the intensity of the moment. Attraction does that. It drags people out of autopilot. It pulls them into their senses. And when that happens, the body looks for a place to hold steady. The lower face becomes one of those places because it is tied to speech, expression, and intimacy. It is the place where emotion gathers. So when his hand lingers there, it can mean his focus on you is stronger than he wants to show. He is steadying himself. He is anchoring. He is trying to stay cool while being more affected than he expected. This gesture becomes even more revealing when you notice the flavor of it. A light stroke along the chin with a slight head tilt can carry confidence. It can look like he is studying you, enjoying your presence, leaning into the tension in a calm way. But if his fingers move across the mouth, or if his hand partly covers his lips while he listens, that can suggest something softer, more vulnerable, more inward. It can mean he is feeling pulled in but does not want to reveal too much yet. And that is often the real story with attraction. It is not just boldness. Sometimes it is restraint. Sometimes it is someone feeling a lot and managing it quietly. The lower face is where that battle often shows. Especially after you say something that lands, something real, something that makes him stop and look at you differently. In those moments, his hand may rise before his mind has time to edit the reaction. That is why this sign matters so much. It appears in real time, right at the edge of emotion. So when you notice him touch his chin or jaw while holding focus on you, do not read it as boring or distant too quickly. Sometimes that stillness means the exact opposite. It means he is deeply present. It means he is listening with more than his ears. It means something you said reached him, and now his body is buying him a little time to absorb it without giving everything away too soon. What most people get wrong is that they search for one giant clue, one perfect move, one line that proves everything. But attraction is almost never that neat. It is layered. It builds through clusters of signals. A neck touch alone might mean nothing. A lip touch alone might just be habit. A hair fix alone might be routine. But put them together with eye contact, with leaning in, with slower speech, with a smile that looks different from the smile he gives everyone else, and the picture changes fast. That is why context matters more than any single gesture. Ask yourself what else is happening around the movement. Did the touch come right after you teased him? Did it happen during a warm pause? Did his body turn toward you at the same time? Did his eyes soften? Did his attention stay on you even when the room had other distractions? Attraction leaves trails. Quiet ones, but clear ones if you learn to see them. And when you do, you stop chasing certainty in the wrong places. You stop obsessing over every text delay or every small gap in communication. Because face-to-face energy often reveals more truth than messages ever can. That is the shift. You stop asking only what did he say, and you start asking how did he show up? How did his body respond? How did the air feel when we were together? Those questions often lead you closer to the truth. There is another reason these signs matter. They reveal not only attraction, but the kind of attraction. Loud attention is easy to fake. Big compliments can be practiced. Smooth words can be borrowed. But the body is harder to coach in the moment, especially when someone is caught off guard by real interest. That is why these tiny movements often feel more believable than polished lines. They show you where he loses control for a second. They show you what slips through when he is trying to remain composed. And that is where sincerity often lives. A man who is only performing may say all the right things while staying emotionally flat in his body. But a man who is genuinely drawn in will often show flashes of tension, softness, focus, and self-awareness that he did not plan. His body will brighten. His posture will shift. His gestures will open and then pull back again as if he is balancing confidence with caution. That mixture is very real. It is not perfect. It is not always smooth. But it is often honest. So if you have ever wondered how to tell the difference between a man who is simply social and a man who is captivated, look for the consistency of these physical signals. Not in 1 second, but across the whole interaction. The truth usually repeats itself. That is your cue. Stay with this. Because the next piece is where people either misread the signs or finally start seeing them clearly. The key is calm observation, not overreaction, not building a whole fantasy from one glance, just noticing, reading the moment without forcing it, because confidence is not in chasing signals. Confidence is in seeing them clearly and staying grounded. If a man likes you, you do not need to pounce on every clue. You do not need to rush to fill every silence or prove that you noticed. In fact, the strongest thing you can do is stay present and let the moment unfold. Let him reveal more. Let the pattern build. Attraction often grows in the space where nobody is trying too hard. That is why silence can be useful. A brief pause after a warm look. A small smile after he adjusts his collar. A relaxed expression when he touches his jaw and then looks back at you. Those moments give the truth room to breathe. And that is when you learn the most. Because once people feel pressured, they often cover up, but when they feel a little room, their natural signals keep showing. So yes, notice the neck, notice the lips, notice the hair, the jaw, the hands, the way he anchors himself when he is focused on you. But do not force meaning too soon. Let several moments stack on top of each other. Let your read come from patterns, not panic. That is how you protect your peace and sharpen your intuition at the same time. And honestly, that is far more powerful than trying to decode every tiny move in isolation. It is also worth remembering that attraction is not always loud because many people feel it before they feel safe enough to express it clearly. That is why the body becomes such an honest place to watch. The body reacts first. It softens first. It fidgets first. It reaches for control first. A man may want to appear calm, confident, unaffected. But if he really likes you, some part of him usually gives him away. Maybe it is the way his fingers move to his neck after you hold eye contact. Maybe it is the way he touches his mouth after you make him laugh. Maybe it is how he smooths his hair or brushes his jaw when you walk closer. Maybe it is how his hands stop hiding and start opening toward you. Maybe it is how his face touch appears right when you say something genuine that lands deeper than he expected. These are not grand declarations. They are softer than that. But often they are more truthful than the grand declarations. They show feeling before performance. They show interest before strategy. And once you understand that, you stop depending only on dramatic proof. You begin to trust the smaller signs that show up in real life, in real time, in the middle of ordinary moments that suddenly do not feel ordinary anymore. That is where the real story usually begins. So the next time you are with someone and something feels different, do not ignore it just because he has not spelled it out yet. Pay attention to the quiet confessions, the hand to the neck, the fingers near the lips, the grooming touch through the hair, the hand tracing the jaw, the open palms, the anchored touch to the lower face when his attention is fully on you. These are the whispers attraction leaves behind. And the more calmly you notice them, the clearer everything becomes. You start to feel the difference between politeness and pull, between friendliness and focus, between casual conversation and a moment where someone is trying not to show how much your presence is affecting him. That awareness changes everything because it helps you stop chasing and start observing. It helps you stay graceful, steady, and tuned in. And that kind of presence is magnetic on its own. If you want, I can take this even further and turn it into a full polished voiceover script with stronger retention lines, more emotional build, and a smoother YouTube flow from start to finish.